What up, what up, what up? This is Coach Josh Graves. I'm here in Stanton, California today at BC Boxing and Fitness. This is a good buddy of mine, Coach Vaughn. I've known him for about 7 years. One of my first boxing coaches ever. And I'm excited to get some fitness in today. Let's check out his spot. What up, baby? Oh, man, blessed. Very good seeing you. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for having me today.
Come on in.
All right. Vaughn, sir, thank you for an incredible workout.
Oh, thank you.
Man, that fitness was different, man. It was different. I was saying that I'm used to kind of more strength training, right? So I do a lot of like 5 sets of 5, 3 sets, undulating periodization, like heavier weights, but the endurance, like going to complete failure on numerous body weight exercises and strength training exercises, and then going to the boxing afterwards, dude, I'm fried. So.
Yeah, you gotta go to failure, man. You have to just get that, change that mindset. Feels like you don't have more, and you just gotta go to that next level, man, mentally. You know what I mean? That's what I love about it, man. I love just go put every muscle to failure, man. Especially on Fridays. Fridays we do full body, so it's Failure Friday.
I should have come on like a Monday. No, next time I'll come on like a Monday or a Tuesday. A couple of weeks ago, I got to go out to one of the professional matches with you and watch one of your fighters fight his first professional boxing match. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he won. He crushed it. He hit that one dude one time, and the dude put his hands down. He didn't look like he wanted to play anymore. But I can see how this type of training transfers really well to the time that these fighters are spending in the ring. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Mike Minter, he fought in Long Beach a couple weeks ago. And the first round knockout, he 1-0, 1 knockout. And just the training that we put these guys through, they're going 3-minute rounds. So his first fight was scheduled for 4 rounds, but 3-minute rounds. So you can't break. You know, you got the audience, you have your heart rates to the roof. You have to control it. So you have to be ready. Your endurance has to be ready, sky high. Be ready for it at all times. So yeah.
Yeah, it's life or death, man. You get tired and put your hands down, you're going to pay for it, right?
Exactly.
If you've never fought, wrestled, done any kind of MMA or anything like that before, if you've never done any kind of martial arts, 3 minutes doesn't sound like a long time. 3 minutes is a lifetime. It's a very long time to keep your hands up, to protect yourself, to throw bouts of power and strength over and over and over again. It's a whole different animal of endurance, for sure.
So the biggest thing, like I tell people, everything with boxing, everything starts with the ground up. You want foundation first. You know, first thing people want to do, and it's, with the fad going on of pads, everyone wants to do pads immediately. And first thing when my guys, I have a group that come in from 4:30 to 6 that work technique. Guys that want to hopefully compete and so forth like that, we start from the ground up. We don't just go automatically to pads and stuff like that. Yes, for the fitness side of things, yeah, we can do that to make it, fun and, different. But if you want to understand the structure of boxing, you start from the ground up, your feet, your legs, your feet positioning, all those things. And then you can work your way up to the mitts later on. You focus working in the mirror, looking at your footwork, looking at your hip rotation, your balance, all those things is so important. Then sometimes you may not even throw in a punch until you get your feet right. That's why jumping rope, jumping jacks, all those things are crucial in regards to boxing.
And you might know what you're talking about. If I understand, I think you've maybe fought upwards of 30, 40 fights in your lifetime?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me about that. Tell me about your history of boxing.
So I actually started in Philadelphia at the age of 16. And I was, at the time, I'm a short guy, man. And at the time, I've always been strong. And I just worried, I had something called a Mike Tyson syndrome. And just thinking about, just because I'm strong, I could just try to knock everybody out. So I didn't train as hard. So I was like, I'm strong. So I'm 5'6", 5'7", fighting guys 5'11", 6 foot. If I don't knock them out, I'm gonna get tired. So I'm heavy. I was fighting in a heavier weight class, 165. It's kind of heavy. So I moved to California about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, and I'm so gracious and thankful for a coach by the name of Jack Mosley. He's the father of Sugar Shea Mosley. And he trained me, and I was living in Pomona, and he forced me to get my weight down, and we worked. Like, when I tell people this a lot. I don't think about, when I was working with Jack, I wasn't thinking about motivation. We just worked. It was hot. We didn't worry about music. It was hot Pomona gym, little Pomona, hot Pomona gym, just grinding. And it made me learn embracing what embracing the suck means. sometimes I'll be the only one because the other guys wouldn't show up because it would just suck. And you know, those days he would have me do 20 minutes of jumping jacks. Like people would think like it's like doing 20 jumping jacks. No, try 20 minutes non-stop of jumping jacks, and it helped me get my weight down. Then before I knew it, I was fighting in the 140s, and I just started fighting more and more and more. Then when I moved to California, I should have went further in my career, and that's why I try to teach my youngsters now. I'm 39 now, but I stopped fighting probably about 5 years ago, was my last fight. But I tried to tell my youngsters, stay in the gym. Stay in the gym, don't let the girls, don't let the distractions. I got distracted. So, you know, outside entities and so forth like that, it got me distracted. So I didn't stay in the boxing gym. I wasn't consistent with it. So now that's the biggest thing I'm teaching my kids now that are here, my guys that are 18, 19, they're at the perfect age. Stay in the gym, son. Don't let the streets eat you alive. This is what you're gonna need because it's gonna pay dividends for so many things, especially if you wanna fight, especially it's gonna help you build that character, number one, that character, that discipline, and like I said, if you wanna fight, you have to stand, if you wanna make this career, you have to stay in the gym, so yeah.
It's funny, I think a lot of gym owners, a lot of trainers have like a superhero origin story that started with, I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, I was bullied, I was overweight as a kid, something like that. Kind of similar. I was growing up in California, I was a little bit behind the age bracket, like cutoff or whatever, so I was like a year behind everybody else in my grade. And then when we moved to Indiana, their school system was even further ahead, so I was almost a year and a half younger than everybody else that I grew up with. So when I was playing football and things like that, I was a little guy. And then what I learned though is I started hitting the weight room. I started setting goals. I started showing up.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden I started getting faster. I started hitting harder. And all of a sudden I was competing or beating the people that I respected the most in my class, right? And then that kind of showed me the value of showing up for myself, setting goals, the weight room in general. And then I based my whole life around fitness because I was shown the power of fitness.
Exactly.
So I met you just at the tail end of that, right? I met you probably about 6-7 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And I think our friend Coach Q introduced us. So Coach Q was like, hey man, I felt this incredible boxing training, you gotta come do a workout with us. So I think initially worked out with you at Grandpa's gym. And you took us through a boxing. I won't forget this workout because I hated you for it. I hated you for it. I told everybody about it.
It's crazy. The pictures, I just got the picture. I'm gonna show them to you later, man. I got those pictures. It came up on Facebook.
Oh, of us flexing on the ring and stuff.
All of that, man.
So cool.
All of it, man.
So cool. But you taught me fundamentals of boxing. I had done some grappling stuff at that time, but I'd never really been in the ring, done any real anything. And we didn't do a lot of pads that day, a lot of foundational technique work, same stuff you're talking about. But the workout I hated you for is you're like, oh, you do some Spartan races, huh? He's like, oh, so you guys do burpees there? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, here's some weights. He's like, dude, give me 30 burpees with the weights. I was like, what? I don't do weighted burpees. So no, go. And then I remember there's two things that stood out in my mind from that time was number one, I started doing burpees and you started counting faster than I was doing the burpees. And I started working to keep up with your count, right? And then you have me do jumping jacks. I'm doing jumping jacks like 1, 2, 3. I'm like 4 or 5. And I started moving. But your energy, the way you coached, the way you counted, the way you cued, it brought a certain urgency to the workout.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big part of what I've seen you grow in your career is people respond to that energy.
Yes.
Would you say that that's a fair assessment of your coaching?
And you said it smack dab, and I say this all the time to my clients. Urgency. Have a sense of urgency. So one thing I noticed since COVID, we don't have a sense of urgency. We've lost that. The average, we need to be moving at least 10,000 steps a day, right? The average person moves about 4,500 a day. That's horrible. There's no sense of urgency anymore because why? We're sitting at home, we're sitting down more. There's no urgency anymore.
People aren't leaving their houses much, working at home, those kind of things.
Exactly. So when my clients come in, have a sense of urgency. Move, guys. Let's go. Move. Once you do that, people will respect you more. Even if you're at the grocery store, you're in line at the restaurant, and you're moving, people will see those things. And I noticed it, and when they start seeing the energy, like, okay, like they respect that. When you have a sense of urgency in life, people are like, whoa, this is different.
This guy's different.
Yeah.
His vibe's different.
Chest up, shoulders back. Look, they see that energy, and you're moving. It's not normal anymore. It used to be, it used to a point it used to be normal, but now we're like we're behind. So I tell my clients, get back to that. Let's break that cycle and get back to that sense of urgency now.
So I know that this facility is a little bit newer. I think you've been here for about a year.
Yes.
I met you at Grandpa's gym about 6-7 years ago. Tell me about the superhero origin story of this gym. Where have you been since Grandpa's gym? How long ago were you? When did you leave Grandpa's gym? I think you had another spot before this.
Yes,
tell me about kind of how the origin of all that.
So I left with Grandpa's around October 2021. I actually had a facility literally right around the corner, like less than a mile away. It was about literally where this turf is, probably about 900 square foot. One bathroom, the sink worked half the time. So I was fortunate, I was starting out good, and it's crazy. One of my favorite things that DJ Khaled says is he says God did. This is one of his songs. God did something, man, and my gym exploded in 6 months. I had to outgrow it. Like literally, I remember one day, in that 900 square foot, I had guys sparring, going at it. As I'm running the class, about 20 people at 9 o'clock, and my guys are sparring, and we're like sardines in there. And I'm looking, I was like, it's time to, I gotta elevate. And you know what I mean? And at that point, you're thinking, you're nervous, because it's like, all right, I paid the rent all the way out the whole year. Thank God, because of COVID, I was hustling during COVID. And at the time, it was just a 1-year lease. And I remember the owner of that facility, he was about to sell it. So, and it's crazy, like I said, God did. It's crazy how things happen. I found this facility, and I remember I lived right down the street. And on my way here, I would see this. That sign where my sign is at, I didn't know what it was. I said, what is that? I would just drive past here. And I ended up driving past, and I came in, and I couldn't see what was actually in here. And it said gallery or something. I still didn't know what it was. And then it said for lease. And I remember I looked, I said, I just got a gut feeling. I said, I think this is going to be a spot. And I remember it was very stressful trying to I still had time on that lease. I wasn't trying to rush, but I knew I had to, if I wanted to secure this, I had to get the ball rolling a little bit more. And I remember, having to submit all the paperwork, submit things on time, and just understanding that process. And I had to learn to embrace that process, because I was like, God, this is not gonna be, I started realizing God's telling me, this ain't gonna be the only time you're gonna do this, son. So embrace this, understand this time. Make sure everything's in order, the organization of making sure all your paper, your bank statements, all that stuff. For all my future business owners and gym owners, understand that there's a process to all this leasing. They want to see everything. What your wife making, what you're making. Want to see, making sure you're not gonna. They're making sure everything's gonna be there. So it was a great process. It was stressful, but a great process, and I appreciate it to this day. So I was thankful to be here. I came here August of last year, and it's been a blessing ever since, man. Just a blessing, just continue to grow, and we're just moving, man.
Dude, love it. So a lot of notes there, right? So one thought, you got to professionalize your operation, especially if you're going to scale your business in any kind of way, right? When you start going through lease processes, if you start looking for investors, funding, anything that's going to help you grow your business, you have to go from being this solopreneur, superhero, super heroics kind of thing to being more of an operation. You have to be a professional business, and you have to be able to prove that you can succeed. I was hearing Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. He was on a Grant Cardone podcast the other day. And he's talking about when he invests in entrepreneurs, it's 70% the person and 30% the business idea.
Exactly.
Right? And so a lot of times you have to be able to sell yourself, your conviction, your product's a part of that, but being able to sell the fact that hey, I'm a gym. Gyms were vulnerable during this last season, but I'm a one of one, right? I'm a 5%er, I'm a 1%er. I'm going to be the person that actually sees a way through no matter what the challenges or the roadblocks or the obstacles. So I definitely agree with a lot of your sentiments there. So starting off in a smaller space, you outgrew that space. All the people are coming, sardine cans in that space. What is it? What are you doing that's growing this thing?
Energy. It's just energy. Not just with me, my coaches as well. This energy. I have to set the standard, number one, and become duplicatable. The coaches see that, and they same thing, energy. Like I said, I can, for instance, my biggest class ever was a big boot camp at Hillcrest Park. 66 people at Hillcrest Park. The police were called. Fullerton police were called. I promise you, it's crazy during COVID. So the police officer, he comes, shows up, and he's like, Am I allowed to curse on here? He's like, the police officer he's like, dude, this is effing dope. You know what I mean? He just saw it. There's so many people. He saw my
Take
energy.
his gear off just for the workout. Yeah.
And he's like, he saw it, but he said separate everybody. But my energy, I have to exude. Everyone needs to feel my energy. Those 66 people going to feel my energy. I'm not going to sit there, just count the reps, look at my clock, walk around. No, I'm going to come over to you. Give me some. Give me those reps. Give me those reps. Everybody's going to feel me. I want to be dripping sweat. And my coaches are learning that so much more, man. More and more you see him. Coach Jay, he's on everybody. Come on, give me more. Push that person that's never got that attention in the group class setting where they go in the back. Mm-hmm. They made it go to that, I'm not dissing any other bigger gyms, 24 or whatever. They go in the fitness classes or whatever, and they go in the back. And nobody's paying attention. And then, they're doing half behind sets. Now we see that. Come on, we see that. Come on. My coaches see that.
I kept trying to put my hips down on the freaking rows today, bro. No, get your hands up. Put your feet up on the bar.
Yeah.
Like, no, I was dying with my feet on the ground. Like, no, put your feet up on the bar. Give me more. And you got reps out of me.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to. Yeah, don't do it, bro. So
it's
I feel that.
That mental, that mom that's been overweight. She had her baby 5 years ago, and she's been overweight. She can't get that baby weight off because she hasn't been putting her whole effort in. She doesn't know how to. Make sense? And then now I'm teaching her how, and that's what it is. And I'm like, no. Like I had one client this morning, Val. Shout out to Val, and she's doing her mountain climbs half behind. I said, no, Val. I said, no, you're bad. You're a bad mother effer. Lift those legs up. Come on, mama, lift them up. And then you see that mental shift. With that mental shift, and and I demonstrated. They just go off the energy. I say, go to the tempo of my hand, and you just see her legs go. We all have that. I got a 300-pound guy. He's at his lowest right now. He was damn near 400 pounds. He's down to 3 something, and he's just going. He's doing hot sauce burgers where you jump in the air, but it's the mental shift. We think we can't do certain things, but once you get that mental shift, okay, I got more. It just changes everything.
So when we were talking earlier, I know you mentioned that you have a charity event going on maybe next week. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that is?
So, St. Jude posted on Facebook and Instagram to do 50 push-ups a day. They're doing a fundraiser, 50 push-ups a day for the month of August. So, I had to put a little twist on it. So I told my clients we're going to do 100 push-ups a day. And I put the link on my Instagram and Facebook to donate. It's crazy. The goal we set was $250. We've exceeded that already. So it's crazy that we've exceeded that number. But on top of that, I had a client. She unfortunately lost her son, years ago, and he was. The services from St. Jude. If people aren't aware of St. Jude, what they do, they help the families. The families don't have to pay anything. They help them with the medical care and so forth. So it's such an awesome thing, man. And it helped her during her her time with her son. He passed away from I forget the name of the term of the cancer, but he passed away at a very young age. And she's been a client that just adds so much value, energy, and we're actually going to be dedicating a fundraiser boot camp in honor of him next Saturday at Hillcrest Park. So it's going to be a dope event. Like I said, my goal, the most clients I've had out there is 66. My goal is to hit 100 by next week. I need the cops called again. No, but I do want to do this in honor of the young man and just just continue to let her know how much she's valued as well, from taking a loss and making it into a positive.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for doing that. That's great. I think it's really cool to see. If you don't know, as a trainer or a gym owner, I had this thought a long time ago. I was like, we're already gathering all these people. We're doing good. Could we take the fitness and the things we're already doing, and could we repurpose that towards something beneficial or for good causes and things like that. I think it's a really cool way to use your platform. You're gathering a lot of do-gooders into one place anyways. So good for you, dude. I think that's awesome. And then all the love for your lady that you're supporting there.
And one thing I want to give you credit for, that's one thing I want to thank you, is that I read your book, before I opened up my facility. I read your book. And one thing that just constantly sticks out is community. And in learning the clients and what they need as a whole. Sometimes there might be little dabs, like you said, some people may want to spark and understand it. And it just always sticks in the back of my mind. And that's why I did this, making sure I start building more community. And that's why I'm doing this, honestly. And I appreciate you writing that book. And honestly, it's one of the first business fitness books that I read, honestly. And I was just like, man, it just adds, like I said, add value, man. So that's why I've always kept you here. Mason, I always kept you here. That's why in any interaction I come into, I see you at Bedros and Wes's event and stuff like that. I always keep you here, and I told my other coaches, always keep you here, like, because you've been so real and so forth like that, man. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. That's my my life's mission and dream, is to be able to collaborate and hopefully in some illusion help promoters and trainers. And so I think you touched my heart with that. Coach Vaughn, thank you, brother. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Man, it was great today. I need to get some food. I'm a little shaky. I'm looking for change makers in the fitness industry. If you know of coaches, gym owners, trainers that are making a difference in their community, connect them with me. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if this content is valuable. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.